The old man stood at the counter, his hands trembling as he fumbled with his wallet. The young man behind him huffed impatiently. No one in the busy cafe seemed to notice. No one cared. His fingers struggled with the zipper. Simple tasks had become mountains lately. The cashier waited, tapping her nails on the register. The young man muttered something crude under his breath, loud enough to hear, quiet enough to pretend it wasn't meant to wound. The old man's shoulders hunched slightly. He had served his country 40 years ago. He had raised a family. He had built a life with his own 2 hands. Now those same hands betrayed him with their shaking. Now strangers treated him like an inconvenience. He finally pulled out a few crumpled bills. Dropped one. It fluttered to the floor like a wounded bird. The young man behind him laughed. Actually laughed. That's when the door opened. A man in his 40s walked in. Broad shoulders. Weathered face. The kind of man who looked like he'd seen hard days and harder nights. His eyes scanned the cafe. Landed on the old man at the counter. Something shifted in his expression. Recognition. The old man didn't see him yet. He was bent down, trying to reach the fallen bill. His knees protested. The young man behind him made another comment. Something about holding up the line. Something about old people needing to stay home. The stranger crossed the cafe in 4 long strides. He picked up the bill, handed it to the old man. Their eyes met. The old man froze. The color drained from his face, then rushed back. His trembling hands went still for just a moment. His lips formed a name, but no sound came out. The younger man turned to the impatient customer. His voice was quiet, controlled, dangerous in its calmness. This man fought for your right to stand here and be disrespectful. I suggest you rethink your tone. The young customer's smirk faded. He looked at the stranger's eyes, saw something there that made him take a step back, mumbled an apology, meant none of it. But he was quiet now. The stranger turned back to the old man, pulled out his own wallet, paid for both their coffees without asking, without speaking. The cashier processed the transaction in silence. Even she felt the weight of what was happening, something bigger than a coffee order. The old man stood there, his mouth opening and closing like he was trying to remember how to form words, how to bridge a gap that had grown wider than years, wider than miles. "Find us a table," the stranger said, his voice softer now, almost gentle. "Please." That last word carried the weight of everything unsaid. They sat by the window, 2 cups of black coffee between them, no sugar, no cream, the way they'd always taken it. Some things don't change, even when everything else does. The old man's hands wrapped around the warm cup. The trembling eased. Not completely, but enough. They sat in silence for a long moment. Not the comfortable silence of old friends. The heavy silence of bridges burned and roads untaken. The silence of things that needed to be said but didn't have words yet. The stranger spoke first. "I saw what happened. With that kid," he paused, looked out the window, "made me angry. Real angry." The old man nodded, sipped his coffee. It was too hot, but he drank anyway. Needed something to do with his hands, with his eyes. "You look good," the stranger said. It was a lie. The old man looked frail, looked every one of his 78 years. But it was the kind of lie that builds bridges, the kind that says, "I see you, I'm here." "You too," the old man replied, his voice rusty from disuse, from years of not having anyone to talk to. "You look strong." Another silence, this one slightly softer. "I'm sorry," they both said at the same time. The words collided in the air between them, hung there. Both men looked at each other. Really looked. For the first time in how long? 10 years? 12? "What are you sorry for?" the old man asked. "Everything. Nothing." I don't even remember anymore." The stranger rubbed his face. "I remember being angry. I remember slamming doors. I remember your face the last time I saw you. But I can't remember why it mattered so much." The old man set down his cup. His hands were steadier now. Having something to hold on to helped. Someone to hold on to helped more. "Pride," he said simply. "That's what it always is, isn't it? Stubborn pride. I said things. You said things. We both meant them at the time. Meant them so much, we let them become walls." "Walls," the stranger repeated. He looked down at his own coffee, saw his reflection distorted in the dark surface. Walls that kept out the cold. Kept out everything else, too. The old man reached across the table, placed his hand on top of the younger man's. The gesture was small, tentative, like touching a hot stove to see if it would burn. It didn't burn. The stranger's hand turned over, gripped back, tight enough to anchor, gentle enough to heal. "Your mother would have wanted this," the old man said. His voice cracked on the word mother. "She always said family was stronger than pride. I should have listened. We both should have." They sat like that for a moment, hands clasped across a small table in a busy cafe. Two men who shared blood and history and years of silence. The world moved around them. People ordered coffee, talked on phones, lived their lives, unaware they were witnessing a resurrection. The stranger pulled something from his pocket. A photograph, worn at the edges, creased from being carried. He slid it across the table. It showed a young man in military dress uniform, proud, strong, standing next to an older man, both smiling, both looking like they owned the world. "I've carried this for 15 years, the stranger said. "Every time I thought about calling, thought about visiting, I'd look at this, remember who we used to be. Then I'd remember the fight, the words. I'd put it back in my pocket and tell myself next week, next month, next year." The old man picked up the photo. His fingers traced the faces. He remembered that day. Graduation from basic training. He'd been so proud, so impossibly proud. His son, following in his footsteps, becoming a man. "Where did we lose this?" the old man asked. "How did we go from this to nothing?" "We didn't lose it," the stranger said. "We buried it, under arguments about careers, about choices, about me not being the son you wanted me to be." "You were always the son I wanted," the old man said fiercely, the strength in his voice surprising them both. "Always. I just didn't know how to say it without saying all the other things, all the disappointed things, all the scared things." "Scared? Terrified? Of losing you? Of you making mistakes I couldn't fix? Of the world being harder than you were ready for?" He set down the photo. "So I tried to make you harder, pushed when I should have held, criticized when I should have encouraged, drove you away trying to keep you close." The stranger's eyes were wet now. He didn't wipe them. Let them be. "I wasn't fair to you either," he said. "I was young, stupid, thought I knew everything. Thought your experience was outdated, your advice was control. I threw away wisdom because it came wrapped in worry. We were both fools, the worst kind, the proud kind." They smiled at each other, small, sad, but real. The old man's hands were completely still now, not because they'd stopped shaking, because he had something worth holding steady for, someone who made the effort worthwhile. "I missed you," the old man said. Simple words, world-changing words. Every single day, missed telling you things, missed hearing your voice, missed knowing you were out there thinking about me too. "I was," the stranger said. "Always. Even when I pretended I wasn't. Even when I told myself I was over it. You were there. In every decision. Every choice. I'd think, what would he say? Then I'd do the opposite just to prove I could. Spent years fighting a ghost. I'm not a ghost. No. You're here. You're real. Your hands shake, but you're here. The old man laughed. Actually laughed. It sounded rusty. Unpracticed. Beautiful. These hands, he said, looking at them. They used to be so steady. Could field strip a rifle blindfolded. Could thread a needle. Could hold you when you were small enough to fit in one arm. They're still strong, the stranger said, just in different ways. They held on to your dignity when that punk was disrespecting you. That takes strength. They let go of you. That took weakness. Then we're both weak, both strong, both human. The stranger stood up, held out his hand, not for a handshake, for help. The old man looked at it, understood, took it, let himself be pulled to his feet. They stood face to face, eye to eye. The stranger was taller now, had been for years, but the old man didn't feel small, felt seen, felt known. Come home, the stranger said, not to visit, to stay. I have room, I have time, I have 15 years to make up for. That's a lot to ask. I'm not asking, I'm begging. The old man's eyes filled. He didn't fight it, didn't hide it. Let the tears come, let them fall. Let them wash away years of silence and pride and stubborn foolishness. Okay, he whispered. Okay. They embraced. Right there in the cafe. Two grown men holding on to each other like they were afraid the other might disappear. Might prove to be a dream, might slip away again. The cafe had gone quiet. People were watching now, not with nosiness, with recognition. Everyone in that room knew what loss felt like, what regret tasted like, what reconciliation looked like when it finally came. When they pulled apart, both men were crying, both smiling, both changed. Your mother would be happy, the old man said. She's watching, the stranger replied. Probably saying it's about damn time. They laughed together. The sound rusty but warm. The sound of a door opening after years locked shut. The sound of coming home. They left the cafe together, the old man's hand on his son's arm. Not because he needed the support, though he did. Because it felt right. Because touch is a language older than words. Because sometimes coming back together is as simple as reaching out. The young man who had been rude watched them go. Something in his face had changed too. Softened. He pulled out his phone, looked at a contact he hadn't called in months. His thumb hovered over the name. His father. He pressed call. Sometimes witnessing redemption plants seeds in unexpected soil. The stranger and the old man walked to the parking lot, stood by the car, neither wanting the moment to end, knowing they had time now, all the time in the world, but still wanting to hold on to this precise moment when everything changed. Thank you, the old man said, for defending me in there, for coming when you did. I didn't come because of that. I came because I was done being angry, done being right, done being alone. The stranger opened the car door. I came because life's too short to waste on pride. Amen to that. They drove away together, toward a future neither had planned but both desperately needed, toward forgiveness and second chances and all the conversations they'd stored up for a decade, toward home. Family isn't the people you never fight with. Family is the people you fight with and come back to anyway. Family is choosing love over being right. Family is trembling hands growing steady because someone worth holding on to came back. If there's someone you haven't spoken to in too long, someone you love but pushed away, someone waiting on the other side of your pride, maybe it's time to make the call. Buy the coffee. Bridge the gap. Before their hands get too unsteady, before time runs out, before you lose the chance to say what matters most. I'm sorry. I love you. Come home. Because in the end, that's all that really matters. Not who was right, Not who said what, not what happened years ago. Just this. Two people, 2 cups of coffee, and the courage to try again. That's family. That's love. That's what healing looks like. Don't wait too long. Don't let pride win. Don't waste the years you could have spent together. The old man and his son learned it just in time. Make sure you do too.